Hello everybody, welcome to the latest episode in our series in programming with Java. Today we're going to talk about getting input from the user. So whenever we run our program, the user could type something in, either we can handle that input somehow and output something to the user. And the unfortunate thing is that in Java, it's not as easy as doing it in Python. In Python, all you have to do is type input, open parentheses, and then some sort of question inside, like what is your name? And you can just run that and it'll ask the user and they'll be able to type something in, and then you'll be able to store that in a variable. But in Java, it's a lot harder to do, unfortunately. In order to get user input in Java, we need to set up a few things first. And the first thing we need is a scanner. So a scanner is an object, it's a variable like many other things. So similarly to how if we have an integer, we can say integer I equals some sort of value, right, like 0. We can also say scanner, and we give the scanner a name. In this case, we're just going to use the word input, although you might see very common in a lot of textbooks and tutorials, people using the word scan as well. But you can give it any name you want. Scanner input equals, and in this case, we want to give it a value. And all we're going to say is we want a new scanner. So this is a very common notation that you might see, where if you want to make a new object in Java, you just say the name, the type of it, the name equals a new, and then the type with a set of parentheses. Now, what goes inside these parentheses is the input that we want. This could be a file if we want to read through a file. In this case, we want this like input from the console, so we're going to type system.in, and all this means is that we're getting the input from the console down here. Now you might notice that underneath the word scanner there is a red line, and it's because Java doesn't know what a scanner is right now. And that's because it's not part of the default library. And so if we hover over here, it says quick fixes available. The first one is import scanner. So up here you might see that it says import java.util.scanner. And what that's basically telling the computer is that, hey, we want to use the scanner, so go ahead and load that onto the computer. Because by default, not all of the methods and utilities, not all of the functions are preloaded, because that takes up a lot of space on the computer. And so instead, we have to tell the computer what we're using, all the special classes we're using, in order for it to load more effectively. Like there's other classes for things like special math functions, like exponents and stuff like that. So if we're not going to use it, we don't want the computer to load it. So by default, it doesn't load those things. And then if we want to load it, we just use an import function right here. So now that we have this, we have our input scanner. All we're going to do is let's go ahead and try out. We got to ask the user a question first, right? So we can ask like, what is your name, or something like that, and then we want to get this input in the form of a variable, a string variable. So string name equals, and then the value of the string name is going to be input.next line. And so what this is saying is that name is going to be the next line in the console, so it's going to be the line that you type. And just to see if this works, let's go ahead and print out. It'll become more apparent once we push run. We push run, ask what's your name, and I can say Adam. And after I push Adam, it will store this value whenever I push enter into the variable name, and it'll output name down here. We can also do a similar thing if we want. You could say how old are you, and then we want to store integer age, right, because it's not a string, it's an integer, equals input dot next. In this case, we're going to use next int right here instead of next line, because we want to grab the integer value of it. And then we can go ahead and print out println age right here. So this is, what is your name? I can say Adam. How old are you? 17, not 167. Just like that. And now you might be thinking, with what we have right here, you can combine this with what we talked about last episode with the control flow, where let's say we copy over this switch right here. So in the last episode, we begun by predefining the name and age variables at the top of our main function. But in this case, since we're grabbing them from the user as the program runs, we can instead just copy over some of our other code, which was properly indented, and then it'll fill in this variable as the program runs. So when we push run now, this is what is your name. I can say Adam. How old are you? 17. And it'll say, what's up? Like it did last time, right? Whenever we predefined the name as Adam. And we can even copy over this code right here, the age code. Let's go and clean that up a little bit. There we go. Just like that. So now when I push run, Adam, how old are you? 17. And I put in happy birthday 17 times, I believe. Yes. Is that right? And so having a scanner input allows you to do a lot more things. So I encourage you to try it out, grab some input from the user, and produce some sort of output based on that input. So go ahead and play around with that. And until then, I'll see you next episode. Bye.